Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Law 4: Always say less than necessary. Welcome to our deep dive into Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Today, we're exploring Law 4: Always say less than necessary. In a world full of noise, this law encourages us to embrace the power of silence and restraint. When you speak too much, you reveal your intentions, give away your power, and can even make yourself vulnerable to attack. By saying less, you maintain control over a conversation and allow others to reveal themselves. Let's explore how this principle can shift power dynamics in your favor and look at several real-life examples of how it has been successfully applied. The essence of this law is simple. Words can be dangerous. When we speak excessively, we tend to say things that we later regret, or we inadvertently give away information that others can use against us. Power comes from controlling what you reveal. When you say less, people become more interested in what you have to say, and your words carry more weight. Silence also puts others on the defensive by staying quiet. You create an air of mystery, making others unsure of your thoughts or intentions. This law doesn't just apply to public figures or business leaders. It's useful in everyday interactions as well. Whether you're negotiating a deal, building a relationship, or dealing with a conflict, the ability to say less can be a powerful asset. Example 1. Julius Caesar and his rise to power. One of the greatest examples of saying less comes from Julius Caesar, the Roman general and statesman. As he plotted his eventual rise to power, Caesar was known for his calculated and often reserved speech. He spoke when necessary, and his concise communication created an aura of authority. By not revealing too much about his long-term plans, Caesar kept his opponents guessing, and when he finally made his move, crossing the Rubicon, it was swift and decisive. His ability to keep his true intentions hidden until the last moment gave him an unparalleled advantage. Silence is golden in moments of tension. When emotions are running high, saying less often diffuses situations rather than escalates them. In diplomatic settings, restraint can prevent unnecessary conflicts. For example, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the restraint shown by President John F. Kennedy was crucial. Rather than engaging in inflammatory rhetoric, he carefully chose his words, ensuring that the situation didn't spiral out of control. His silence allowed for calm negotiation behind the scenes, which eventually led to a peaceful resolution. Example 2. Steve Jobs and Apple. In the business world, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, was a master of saying less. He was known for his minimalist presentations and carefully chosen words during product launches. Jobs understood that creating anticipation and mystery around a product would increase its allure. Rather than overwhelming his audience with information, he left them wanting more. His words were few, but they carried significant impact, making Apple's products seem revolutionary. This strategy allowed Jobs to maintain control over the narrative, keeping competitors in the dark and consumers on the edge of their seats. Similarly, Warren Buffett, the legendary investor, has made a career out of saying less. In his annual letters to shareholders, Buffett's language is often direct and concise. He avoids the corporate jargon and over-explanation that many CEOs fall into. By keeping his communication straightforward and sparse, Buffett retains an aura of authority and trust. His words are chosen with care, and as a result, they are taken seriously by investors and the public alike. Example 3. Napoleon Bonaparte and the Power of Silence. Moving to the battlefield, Napoleon Bonaparte, one of history's greatest military leaders, was also a master of saying less. Napoleon's ability to remain quiet during key moments confused his enemies. They were never entirely sure of his next move, which gave him a tactical advantage. Napoleon's silence created an environment of uncertainty for his opponents, forcing them to guess what he was thinking and allowing him to manipulate the battlefield to his advantage. On the flip side, those who fail to grasp this law can often suffer the consequences. A notable example is King Louis XVI of France, who, during the French Revolution, constantly over-explained his actions and tried to justify his decisions. His rambling speeches and inability to remain silent under pressure weakened his position, ultimately leading to his downfall. The more he spoke, the more he revealed his insecurities, which eroded the confidence his subjects had in him. In today's political arena, we see similar patterns. Leaders who talk too much often leave themselves open to criticism and expose their weaknesses. By contrast, those who strategically choose their words are often able to maintain a position of strength and authority. It's important to note that saying less doesn't mean saying nothing at all. This law is not about being mute, it's about choosing your words carefully and ensuring that they carry weight. The less you say, the more people will pay attention when you do speak. When your words are rare, they become valuable, and people are more likely to listen. In personal relationships, this law can also be useful. Think about arguments often. The person who says the least has the upper hand. The more you talk in a heated argument, the more likely you are to say something you don't mean or something that can be used against you later. By keeping your cool and saying less, you maintain control over the situation. Example 4. Henry Kissinger and international diplomacy. In international diplomacy, Henry Kissinger, former U.S. Secretary of State, was known for his measured and calculated speech. Kissinger was a key figure in negotiating peace during the Vietnam War and establishing U.S.-China relations. His ability to say less, while leaving others to reveal more, made him a brilliant negotiator. Kissinger's silence often led his counterparts to over-explain their positions, giving him the advantage in high-stakes discussions. His mastery of this law allowed him to steer complex geopolitical situations in his favor. This brings us to another critical point. People tend to fill silence with their own thoughts and words. When you say less, it often forces the other person to talk more, and in doing so, they might reveal more than they intended. This is particularly useful in negotiations, where your silence can compel the other party to give away critical information or make concessions they wouldn't have made otherwise. So, how do we apply this law in modern-day life? Whether in the workplace, in relationships, or in social situations, being aware of when to speak and when to remain silent is crucial. Instead of rushing to fill every gap in conversation, let the silence sit. Let others reveal more about themselves and their intentions, while you maintain control of your own. In job interviews, negotiations, or even conflict resolution, the person who talks less often emerges in a position of strength. By allowing others to speak, you gather more information, identify weaknesses, and maintain control of the dynamic. In conclusion, law for always say less than necessary is about strategic restraint. Words are powerful tools, but when used recklessly, they can also be a weapon against you. By practicing silence and carefully choosing your words, you can maintain an air of mystery, retain control, and make your words more impactful. Next time you're in a situation where you feel compelled to speak, ask yourself, is this necessary? Sometimes, saying nothing speaks volumes. Let others over-explain, reveal their cards, and dig their own holes. You'll stay ahead by saying just enough to maintain control and nothing more. Key takeaways. 1. Silence is power. By saying less, you maintain control over conversations and power dynamics. 2. Words can be a weapon. Speaking too much often reveals more than intended and can lead to vulnerabilities. 3. Silence compels others to speak. When you say less, others will often fill the silence, revealing their intentions. For timing is everything. Know when to speak and when to hold back. 5. Mystery breeds authority. People are drawn to those who maintain an air of mystery. By saying less, you become more intriguing and powerful. Thank you for joining me today in exploring law 4 of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Always say less than necessary. Remember, silence and restraint can be your most powerful allies in the game of influence and authority. Whether you're negotiating, leading, or simply engaging in conversation, choose your words carefully, and don't give away your power by speaking too much. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated with more deep dives into the 48 Laws of Power. We've got plenty more laws to cover, each with powerful lessons that can elevate your understanding of strategy, leadership, and influence. Also, share your thoughts in the comments below. How have you seen the power of silence work in your life? Let's start a conversation. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll cover Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.